If you're an insurance agent right now and you're hearing all this gibberish and fear mongering about the FCC eliminating your ability as an insurance agent to buy leads, I'm going to give you some transparency with a powerhouse in the industry. John from Bang Bang Leads is here. We're going to give you some inside baseball about what you need to actually be concerned about. So many folks are just pushing stuff upon you because they want to get paid. So we are going to dive into this with you. I hope you enjoy it. John, say hey, my friend. I appreciate you coming on today.
Man, good morning, Jason. Good to see you. Met you several years ago through, I'd have to go back and look, referral, probably. That's where most of the business comes from.
Absolutely.
And we've built a relationship over the years. I've watched your content, always been a positive thing. There'll be months go by that we don't talk, and I may have a question, fire off a text. That's how this meeting ended up coming to be. I was out in Vegas trying to figure out some of the things you just spoke about with some folks a couple weeks ago. And I was like, we keep talking about doing something. Let's do it. It's New Year. I see a lot of the fear mongering going on. And I think we just need to get the positive word out about, hey, this is what's happening and this is what you can do and this is what you should look for. So thanks for the opportunity, man. I'm here in St. Louis, Missouri. That's where I was born and raised. Um, Typical December day, it's about 30 degrees out. So I don't know if you're in sunny Southern California or something, your weather might be a little different than mine, but it's a beautiful day here.
I appreciate you coming on. And, for those viewers, John runs bangbangleads.com, does a ton of exclusive leads. And a lot of this falsehood getting pushed out, where at first it was like, oh, everybody thought the sky was falling in 6 months. There's some places saying that you can't even buy leads at all coming up
Yes.
soon, which was really a sour taste if anyone had any, sense and read what the FCC reached. Are leads going away, John? Share with the audience. You're a lead vendor. Are leads
Man,
going away?
right.
Is your
I
business going
know
to dissolve? Are we going to start living in cars if I
you've
was
been
a lead vendor?
I
I mean,
know,
share with us what's
right?
going on.
Yeah, man, we're gonna get a solar blast here shortly and shut everything down. We're all gonna have to go back to door knocking. No way. Which is how I started out, right? Literally just stopping my car and walking down the street. Like you didn't even have a lead. There was no leads. So the answer to the question is heck no, man. Leads are not going away. But you do need to know the changes that are happening so you don't get your hands on a lead as an agent, which is how I started out over 20 years ago. I'll be 50 this year. So you got to know who you're getting your leads from and that the person is making the lead specifically for you. Next week, I think Sunday night or Monday, I'm going back down to Florida to meet with more people like regulators. I don't want to say lawmakers. I'm not meeting with lawmakers, but people that are much higher in this than me, that own much bigger companies who have been deep diving into this stuff. So we know the facts. Here's what you need to know. If you're going to get a lead, make sure it's made for you. Like our leads, we've been doing now for over a year. Every campaign's unique. It has your name on it or your agency name, and it's shown to that person. They fill that form out, they submit it, you get it. That's it. We don't resell them. It stays in your agency. You can contact them. We got the TCPA compliance, the FCC regulations, everything figured out, and we stay up to date with it. We share our ads with people so they can see what people are clicking on, so they know it's legit. We lock all that stuff up in like what Amazon AWS, which is a big digital warehouse, in case someone would ever come back and say, "Hey, I didn't do this." We can go back through the archives with that lead ID and say, "Here it is, you did it." Basically, like a digital walk of that person going to a website, clicking on an ad or something, filling it out and submitting it, and then you get it. So that's what we're doing to protect you as an agent.
I love your transparency, John. I've known each other for a lot of years, and I've always, loved the way you've handled agents. And I run a national agency with
Yeah,
agencies as well that partner here that sell life and Medicare at jasonfinalexpense.com and annuities. And it's important to have good leads and to have the transparency of, hey, here, Jason, here's a copy of the ad copy. This is what it looks like for your guys and gals when they're working the leads. And the fact that you even respect the consumer for the audience to know that even the way your portal works, for those that don't know kind of the inside baseball
yeah,
of when they get their leads from you, it's nice to have even additional data as we're dialing, right? And trying to connect and close business. But more importantly, you keep agents out of harm's way where you say, hey, certain information is going to be evaporated after so many days to stay
that's
HIPAA
right.
compliant. You're one of the only lead vendors that I know, my friend, that does this. That's a
Yeah,
big difference. Like you actually are taking this kind of stuff seriously instead of just selling a lead and throwing it out to the winds and going, see ya. I mean, the
yeah,
fact that you're
man.
meeting with regulators and dealing with things to, because you all already are like, this is a single lead. You guys don't resell leads, correct?
No,
For those
never
of
have.
the audience knowing.
Right. Never have. Well, so about 20 years ago, I started out as a marketing rep for an insurance carrier. So I was a guy coming to your meetings. If you're, whether you're, maybe you're with an IMO and they have like annual meetings and stuff. So I would go there. I was also, I handled Missouri and Illinois. So I went door to door to agencies telling them, hey, how great our product was. I tried to get a meeting with the owners, come in, tell them about our product, say, sell our carrier product. So that was fun. I was in my 20s. I had a corporate credit card playing. I mean, basically, I just went out and bought dinners and drinks, and it was a blast. But I met a lot of people around the country, and I learned a lot from just small one-person agency owners. Like I started out to massive multi-story buildings, and you learn, there's a right way to do things and there's a wrong way to do things, right? So as that went on, I wound up starting selling a couple years later. I started an independent agency.
You're in a big
Well,
multi.
I started working for an independent, and it was great, but I had a family. I was like, man, I need a little more security, income. I went captive, where they provide like a State Farm type thing. And what I quickly found out is that when you're captive, being one out
Needing
of
that stability. I
almost
get
one out of
that.
two people you talk to, stability's great, but you got to tell a lot of people no, or I've only got one price. So I went to the independent route. Fast forward, coming to this world like 2013 of the final expense, the mortgage protection, the simplified issue stuff, because we were always doing fully underwritten. And we were buying direct mail leads. We were hiring and recruiting agents. I'm from a small rural town. Like, how can we get leads either cheaper or more of them? Messing around. Next thing you know, I'm making Facebook leads. Had too many one day, sent them to a friend in Louisville, Kentucky, who's still massive agency like yours or nationwide. And they called back, said, how can we get more of those? It's like, huh. So that's how Bang Bang Leads started. At the time, it was just me making leads. But what I've learned through owning that agency, the agency I had, we had receptionists, we had bookkeepers, we had CSRs, we had, a whole building is just taking care of yourself. So like I have professional liability insurance. I meet with professionals almost 2 years ago. They said, hey, you should not hold this data out there in your CRM. It's a danger to your clients, to your agents, and to you in case you would get hacked. So yeah, it's a bummer. Like at first, people didn't like it. I'm like, hey man, your data is going to be erased, start getting scrubbed after 2 weeks, after 7 days, really now. But it protects you, and you can
Right.
export that data. So I don't want you to think your lead's only there for a week. You get a text, you get an email, you
Right.
can export it out to a CSV file if you want, but that's on you what you do with it once it leaves our system. If
Right.
you
Because
decide,
agent's liability, not yours for,
yeah,
putting it out there in the winds.
yeah, we're protecting you. Yeah. So you don't have to worry about all that stuff. And then, we thought about, hey, maybe I should do a thing where I teach you how to do this. Like, I don't have time. How am I going to make all these leads? How do I just distribution was the biggest pain in the butt. So we have over 9,000 agents on our platform now nationwide. I can't believe it. I still have agents that were like 003 buying leads. It's like, I am just blown away by it.
Right.
So distribution is where the software came in. And where in the beginning it was, I'll show you how to do this on your own. Maybe I do a course, maybe we do a done for you. You log onto a Zoom, and it was a disaster. I say, because how can you can't run Facebook ads for thousands of people. You'd have to have hundreds of employees. So my thought was, how about I try to make the cheapest lead possible? When I started out, they were $35 a piece. Now they're most of the time an exclusive final expense lead, targeted. If you want to go door knock it, most of the time I can sell them to you for $10. $10. So instead of paying 50 for direct mail, you can get 5 leads for the same price. That's where the mindset was. So like, you want to do them yourself? Great. Try to figure it out. I tried, and I had to do one or the other. Stop selling, make leads, or make leads. You know what I mean? You do one thing good.
Absolutely. It's
Yeah.
like
So
you go be a professional marketer or go be a professional agent. And so many
yeah,
people are like, oh, you need to make your own ads. And most people, as you know, John, they get their Facebook campaign shut down pretty
right.
quickly. And now they're on their heels. They're not making money and they're spending weeks trying to resurrect things. And it's a nightmare for
Yeah.
folks that have never done a Facebook course. And the people out there in the sell you a Facebook system hate my mouth when I'm talking to professionals like you that are like, yeah,
I
exactly.
tried,
Go make money.
did it.
And it's not because
Yeah.
John's trying to make a killing off leads. He has good leads and, they're not direct mail prices for goodness sakes. But
Yeah. Right. Statewide or even cheaper. Like, some of the agents that come through you get them for maybe $5 a piece. They'll get 100 of them. Which I know it takes a lot more leads if you're doing phone sales these days, man. It's tough to
right.
get people on the phone. A lot of landlines are down. Even my parents who are almost 90, when they both have iPhones now, and they even FaceTime my kids. It's pretty funny that they're 90 and they do it. But they'll even look at their phones and just swipe nope. And it used to be if the phone rang at their house, whoa, they got up, answered it. Like, so it's tough getting a hold of people on the phone. We do, so that's why we do like the 100 leads for $500. We've always got specials going because I just
Oh,
know it
yeah.
takes so much more data to reach to get a person on the phone.
Takes so
If you're
much
just
more
going to be,
volume.
yeah, yeah,
100% for
100%.
telesales. A lot of folks don't think they think they can go from like a face-to-face agent. We give them such transparency on this. You need
Right.
lots more leads for telesales than you do, but it's a way less cost. So it's a good
Yeah.
benefit to go tele.
And an upline like you guys have got the experience with it. I came from when I was doing it, we didn't even quote over the phone. Sorry, I can't do it. I got to come make sure you're not like 10,000 pounds of chain smoking. You gave them all that. I just got to drop this off. Like you just, hey, if you hang up, I'm still coming. That was the old days. And now with phone, it's
Absolutely.
completely different. So you guys have that. That's all. I mean, you guys crush that. So find some good training like Jason here. And if you're going to get into phone sales and get the training first, you don't buy a bunch of leads and just grab your phone and start calling. There's so many things that Jason can help you with to make sure it's a success. You're gonna get punched in the face, as they say, but I still do. I've been doing it for over 20 years every day, man. You get it, keeps you going.
Absolutely. Well, I appreciate that. And with you guys, the whole, single user, right? You guys have already implemented that. Your leads are not going away. You guys are squeaky clean and good to go coming up in the future as well. Um, correct for all the agents. You've already gone through that. I mean, the fact that you guys already have the agent's name and everything else on that lead, and you've been doing it
Yep.
for a hot minute. You're not like everybody else where it's like, go buy refrigerators. The next thing you know, we're going to call that a lead on a website. I mean,
Right. Yeah. And people will do it. I even tell agents, they'll call and ask, hey, how can I'm going to start selling health insurance or whatever it is. How can I get my leads I got from you and dump them into, I'm like, no, 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 no. These people consented to final expense. Like you can do what you want. I'm just saying that's where all these new regulations from FCC and stuff come down because and it's been going on. I'm not saying insurance agents are the only ones doing it. It just started happening. And it's been going on forever. I started
absolutely.
out going to like these senior fairs where you would set up a booth and the seniors would come through and sign their name or stick one of their return mailing labels. And if they went to every booth, they got their name in a drawing. And we would call them for whatever we were there, but some people would sell their list to everybody in there and they'd be getting beat up about everything. So you got to be careful. Just use common sense. Do what the person wants final expense, hit them up for final expense. But you're right. The software that we use, those folks, they're huge. They're a very large software company, so they're not going to get involved. They know what we're doing. They specialize in the lead industry. There's not only in the lead industry, but specifically in the insurance industry. So they're very aware of what's going on. So I have to submit our ads on a regular basis, all of our TCPA compliance and consent, everything that the person agrees to. So they know that the lead coming into the system, because the people see the ad, comes in our software. That's how we distribute it out to the agent. They want to make sure that we're not bringing in any junk in and then sending it back out. So not only are we working on it, but like they won't even allow it if it comes in and goes out, which is fantastic because they catch stuff. Like they got attorneys on staff. I don't. I love it.
Right. And I love the disclaimers on every lead where they're clicking and opting in.
Yeah,
It's just a nice thing. And are leads going to be perfect for those of you watching? No, it still takes an insane amount of sales skills. All right. So
that's
don't think
right.
that there's some magic lead that you're going to purchase and make piles of money without putting in the work and training and technique. It does take work, my friends. It just
That's
does.
right.
90% of the agent force fails because they think they can just buy a bunch of leads and somehow it's going to equate to dollars. It can, but there's no guarantee here. So you got
That's
to get
right.
yourself into a position where you're really skilled up. You know your script. If you're doing tele, if you're a face-to-face guy, you still have to have a presentation down. You still got to
That's
be
right.
ready. I mean, there's
Yeah.
no like secret sauce here. John will tell you that. John, you've done this before he went into the lead vending side. And when you went into the lead vending side, you kind of quit doing the insurance side because it takes so much bandwidth for the
It,
audience to know.
yeah, I had an agency and I had a partner, and he was much 20 years older than me. So the plan all along, we partnered up in 2007. So we were building this agency, building it, and we did more than just life. We also had P&C side. So we had a home and auto, we had a small business. That's how I got into life. I was writing small business plans for these business owners, whether they wanted to borrow more money or they just started
Mm.
making some more money. Like I have a lot of life insurance. I have 4 kids, 2 of them are not even in high school yet. So that was my concept of it. And when we started doing these leads, it wasn't because I wanted to get into the lead business. It wasn't because I wanted to figure it out on my own. I tried getting leads from other people. I tried hiring some local Facebook ad agencies. Most of them said, "You're crazy. Nobody's going to click on an ad for life insurance. Like, who would do that?" That's what they
Right.
told me. One of them's still a really good friend of mine. Very successful, but doesn't do anything in insurance with Facebook ads. So I bought a course. The heck was the guy's name? Like Kev, I can't remember. Flew out to California to meet up, make sure these people were, some of them were legit, not just renting Lamborghinis or whatever you say.
Right.
And a lot, because they were half my age, some of them less than half my age at the time. So that's how I got started. Spent, gosh, that was 2018, doing it myself, just for my agency, just for my agents. Some days I'd turn on ads and I'd come back. I didn't realize it. You'd come back a day or two later and see, that's how it's going. Spent thousands of dollars and had no leads. Like, oh my!
Right.
And you're not getting your money back not from Facebook. Or you would have some leads and they were 150 bucks a piece, or they were wrong. You screwed up the area. So it's a huge learning curve, man. But once people, so how did people find out about it before we started marketing Bang Bang Leads? Leaderboards. Hey, how do you get recognized in an organization? Whether it's you're a one man shop, well, the company you're writing for is going to call you and go, "Hey, what's going on? Your numbers are going up. You're getting consistent. Where are you finding your prospects?" Or if you're with one of these large IMOs like yours, or some of these other ones that are out, massive ones that are out there, they got leaderboards every week, every month. So people started hitting leaderboards. Where are you getting your leads from? And that's it. Just most of it just was strictly born out of word of mouth, relationships from traveling around, people like you know each other, start doing something. And I run some ads for leads, but most of it's been word of mouth, just friends, making sure it's right. I
Absolutely.
screw up. I'm human. You make a batch of bad leads. Oh man, sorry. Let's figure it out. Our bad. I'm in the wrong area. Shoot. Whatever it is.
Absolutely. And we've
I
had that, just for the viewers to know, we've had that as well, all right? So nobody's I'm not perfect, John's not perfect, he's always made stuff right, and that's the big deal, right? A lot of lead
yeah.
vendors, if something gets screwed up, they don't wanna talk about the screw ups, right? They just don't. They wanna keep that like, "Oh, let's put that in a corner somewhere." I can call
Yeah. And
John
and
and
living it.
take care of it, right? It's no big deal, and that's I'm not mistakes will happen, and to have
Yeah.
a
Just
lead
answer the phone,
agency like
man.
this that actually answers the phone and goes, "Oops, yeah, okay, something happened there, let me fix
I
it."
screwed up.
That's a big difference. That's just for those of you viewers watching, as opposed to, like, certain lead vendors, we'll leave them unnamed. Um, Marketing's
There's so
magic,
many,
and
man.
if you have a lead vendor that does not know how to return a text, an email, or a call, you spend a lot of cash to get blocked,
Yeah.
basically. And that's how
Yeah.
some lead vendors are, and marketing is magical. Like, you can have the best sales skills on the planet, but you don't have anybody to sell to, you're in a sinking boat.
Yeah. And I've got text is best. So if somebody's watching this and saying, "Man, I bought leads from John. This happened. I shot an email or something, or sent a message," just do it again. Shoot a text. I tell folks when I'm
Absolutely.
on group calls or customers, my numbers, when you order, you get a thank you page, obviously, to set up an account if you don't have one. It has our email. It's got my cell phone number on it. Sometimes I wonder why I've done that, but it's there. Sometimes your phone's just blowing up, but it's, text me. If I don't reply in 10 or 15 minutes, text me again. They get buried. Like, "Hey, man, I bought some leads." Some people text immediately. "I just bought leads. What's going on? I don't have them yet." Well,
Right,
read the thank you page, but here's what's going to happen. I'm getting them in the wrong area. Whatever it is, just let us know, man. We'll
right.
make it right. And I was an
And a
agent. I were one for a long time, and I trained them. So, man, I get it. I remember days. Man, I remember it was the week before Christmas. I bought a couple of $1,000s worth of direct mail leads, drove up to Des Moines, Iowa, a few hours from my house, and just knew I was going to crush it, man.
Oh, yeah.
It was horrible. I mean, I even said, "I'm not going to book my hotel until I make my first sale." I slept in my car that night. Door stood up. It's just bad. But I stayed at it. It wound up being one of the best weeks of the year that I had. But I get it. And those were just direct mail. We didn't have these internet leads at the time. So
Mhm.
just saying, I get what you're going through. I get, man, do I buy leads? Do I postpone paying a bill if you're starting out? I just got
Right.
my license. I just went through all this stuff. I just spent hundreds of bucks. And now you want me to buy leads? Because when I was the company that we started doing things with in the beginning, I'm not saying they didn't tell you, but they would get new people in, get them through the program, get them trained, whatever it was, get them licensed, all these things. And then, oh, hey, by the way, you got about $500 for leads. What? After, they would tell you how great leads were, but you never knew you were going to have to buy it. It was like,
Bait
oh
switching you.
man. Yeah. So anyway, I've been there, I guess is what I'm trying to say. Like, so I get it.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
And I appreciate that. So leads are going nowhere. It's not going to disrupt really your pricing
Not
model.
my
It's not going to
business.
really
No,
disrupt your business. Leads are not
I
going
don't
to
think so.
just evaporate like snowflakes and the panic
Nope.
is going to ensue and none of that.
I see a huge opportunity. It's gonna, and I don't, I'm just what I read. There's gonna be, I think the leads that we've always been making are exclusive. You get them, the ads have your name on them. We'll send you the ad if you want to see it. If you don't believe it,
Right.
here's the ad. Now, well, are they going to remember your name when you call them?
Of course not.
But it's right there. It says,
Yeah.
John Davis, and then it shows their phone number. You're giving John Davis your permission to call you, text you, door knock you at this number, along with all the other compliance stuff. So it's their capture. Whether they read it that much or not, I don't know. We're popping ads up all over until people know I'm not just using Facebook anymore. For something like you said, it was Facebook's great. We use them, but we also have lots of other ways that we make leads online, using like Google ads. And we've been able to develop websites
Absolutely.
over the years and buy some websites that we drive traffic to. But Facebook, you'd wake up one day and maybe they shut your ad manager down. Maybe they permanently banned you from even running ads. They do. Maybe one day, I remember one day leads were coming in at, say at price point, I'm just going to make something up. Say they were coming in $10. I'm like, whoa, I'm going to get on this call and run this huge special. $12 leads, $13 leads. Our goal has always been to try to make a buck a lead. We sold a bunch of leads, thousands. And the next day, Facebook decided to start charging us $17. And I filled the orders. We were like, do we send the money back? Do we turn our phones off and just hide? I dug into the bank account. We filled every freaking order. And that's when I realized we got to figure out another way to get leads as well. So we can scale this thing and keep people full of them. And it's been great because we've been able to drive down our prices and still get a quality lead out there. They're great. The data is good. We scrub it. Not only is everything in the TCPA compliance, but we run it through lots of other softwares to verify the IP address is where the person says they're from, verify their physical address, their phone numbers, their emails, bounce all that stuff through. We also have software on so the person can see the ad as many times they want, but they can only convert once every 60 days. So can you get a duplicate? Heck yeah, it happens. It happens. It'd be like if you bought leads from 5 lead vendors in the same city, you're probably going to get dupes because that person's filling out online ads. They're filling out direct mail lead ads. It happens, but we'll replace it if you get one. If you get a dupe.
Happens with
But
me when I buy direct mail for our face-to-face agents that
that's right.
partner here. It happens with Facebook ads if you do it yourself. I mean, the duplication
Right.
side, it's
Yeah.
just that algorithm that's thrown
Yeah.
to the news feed. It's
Hey man, I used
people
to say
don't like talking about it.
if you get the same lead 3 times, you better get in the car and go to that house, man. That person wants something. Like we're not trying to choose my French career or resell a
Right.
lead. It's just that person filling it out more than one time. Like so, and I know people get burned, so their first thought is, man, what's going on over there at Bang Bang? And call us up, we'll shoot you a new one. Usually, I can't say 100% because I'm sure we screw up sometimes, but we always add extra credits. If you order 20 direct or 20, I said direct mail, 20 targeted leads, which is, for face-to-face door knocking appointments, usually you're going to probably wind up somewhere close to 25. We just send them. We know you're going to get a bad number. Maybe they won't, maybe they won't answer. Something goes wrong. We just send a few extra. It just seems to make things easier. But if you get a bad one, you get something, just give us a shout. We're not trying to dupe you on a lead and make an extra dollar or something. It's just people filling them out.
Absolutely. Well, I appreciate you coming on. So you've got the single consent, you've got the backing of everything or launching forward, and the FCC basically has zero impact on your business because how you run your business already.
That's right. That's great. I'm glad we set it up that way. It hurt business a couple years ago when we started doing things a certain way. But so these, if you're new into this, and social media's changed like how you get information, right? Obviously,
Absolutely.
it's a silly thing to say, but I'm 50. When I started out, I remember the biggest. So 9/11 happens, and all this new regulation comes down. I remember. I'm going to say it was like 2000. or nine, after the housing market crashes, then a whole bunch of other regulations come down because all the fraud and all the, how much money people lost.
Mhm.
They found all this, whatever. I'm not a Wall Street person, but I've watched some movies. So I remember the lobbyist coming to like the annual insurance agency. Every state has an insurance commission, and they do annual meetings. You can go to them if you want to. Usually when I went to them, it was like people that were like 60, 70, 80 years old. They were boring and old dudes with gray hair and ties. But I would go talk to the lawmakers and stuff because we started seeing this stuff, and they were trying to pass a law. In order to sell an annuity, you could not have an life insurance license. You had to have a securities license, and that started in like 2007, 8. So where I was going is they came there and were personally asking for donations so they could fight it, like the life insurance lobbyists
Right.
and the annuity companies. So they were unsuccessful. That went on for like 2 or 3 years. Made it they put in a lot of rules that, like, gotcha. Like, if you wrote an annuity, you better be dotting, crossing, do it up.
Mhm.
You know what I mean? Like, and then the 30
Percent.
day free look and all this other stuff. But stuff like this has been happening since I got started. You just didn't hear about it. It wasn't in your face every time you flicked on
Right.
Instagram or TikTok, like, you're going to jail if you call a lead. You better get
Right.
our program. I've seen some of the biggest people out there. I just seen one this morning that said, if you call a lead from a lead vendor, you're going to go to jail. I'm like, why are you? What are you doing? That's ridiculous. People are going to know that it's not true in a little bit of time, but it's just clickbait, I guess.
It
Um,
is.
so just know this stuff's been going on for the last 4 or 5 years. Every year there's new changes. We've seen this texting thing coming. I don't think it's a bad thing. I, I used to
Agreed.
get a text message and I grab my phone because that was a close friend or family member.
Right.
Now there's 100 and something unanswered text on my phone because it's spam. So
Exactly. It's annoying.
that's what they're trying to do. They want you to quit spamming text messages. That's what all this new regulation is basically trying to accomplish. Stop spamming people on their phone, which I think's a good thing. I don't like it. So
100%. I mean, the only thing
yeah,
constant in this industry is change.
yeah, that's
And
true.
it's not gonna be major changes, but we're all creatures of habit, so when there's some tiny little change, some marketers really wanna, like, tune it up into panic and the sky's falling and Chicken
Yeah,
Little and everybody's running and spending money on stuff they don't need to be spending money on.
yeah, man. Stay on top. You're doing a good thing, man. I'm glad you reached out. I was hoping this is I knew we'd talk about this a little bit, but I think it's great. It's the momentum's building more and more about people calling and asking, and I'm seeing this stuff. So I think it's great. Get this stuff out there and let people know. Um, you can reach out to me on this video if you see it. I'll put it on my stuff too and send
Absolutely.
it out. Probably send it out to everybody that's in our database just to let them see it. And again, Sunday or Monday, I'll be down in Florida meeting with a bunch of people, just getting some more data, getting some more information, more compliance, and I'll share it all. Okay, this is what we're going to do. Here's how we're going to make it. At the moment, I don't see it affecting price. It's because we've already been doing it. So
Right.
if I had to implement something new, it might. But at the moment, I don't. As far as I know, I don't have to make any changes. We're done. We're
And you've
we're
been doing
rocking.
stuff the right way for long as I've known
Yeah,
you. It's always been that way where it's like
yeah.
my name's in the
We
ad,
try.
our agents'
Yeah,
names are in the ad, and
right.
you've already done it. You've already had that infrastructure in there where a
Yeah,
lot of them haven't. A lot of them are like, "Oh, it's veterans insurance. Oh, it's this." And it's like using, state seals and all this crazy stuff that they're doing.
yeah.
it's so generic. And it's like they're giving that same lead out to there's IMOs out there, that will leave nameless that will sell one lead for 14, 15, $16 and then sell it to somebody else and somebody else and somebody else, and
Yeah,
that
yeah,
it'll
and that
impact them, but it's
it
not
will.
gonna
And
impact you as an agent or, me or John. It sells a single lead to a single, purchaser. It's
sure,
single consent power.
yeah, and those IMOs doing it, as long as they're saying, "Hey, these are resold leads or age leads," no problem. When I started out, if you could get your hand on an old direct mail lead for a
Sure.
buck or two,
Money.
dude, it's great. And you would go sometimes to that person's house and be like, "Oh, I remember meeting with so and so years ago," and they
Right.
pull out the policy, but you'd write them another one. So as long as you know, but those big IMOs, they've got legal teams. They'll make sure they got it figured out. They don't want to get in trouble, but it's going to affect it. It's going to affect the, reselling of a lead, but they'll
Absolutely.
figure it out. Yeah,
Age leads
just
will
know
be
who you're getting it from.
toast.
Yeah,
A lot of
know who
these
you're getting
data
it from.
shops are gonna be gone.
Yeah, right on, man. Good stuff.
No, you're right. It's so huge, and, really appreciate you, coming on, and I know age leads right now, the way that things are currently with the FCC, who knows what lobbyists will do, but currently those things are done. I mean, even
Yeah,
multi-selling, you can't even call like, a life insurance lead and then, like you and I were talking about earlier in the video, use that as a Medicare lead. You can't
right. You
do
should,
certain things anymore.
especially
And
Medicare. Holy smokes, man. Yeah.
oh,
I mean, you might be able to make the switch between like a final expense to an IUL or something like, because
sure, because
people,
then it's
it's life insurance. How many
right.
times was I in a home and go, okay, we got this mortgage protection taken care of. Now I got a question. I'd be like, oh, do you sell life insurance? I'd be like, wow, you're so jaded because you don't know, but people don't know. That guy's an electrician.
True.
He don't know anything about life insurance. That's why he called you. Oh, look, I put some notes here. I want to make sure I didn't miss anything. One thing I'll say about rules and stuff, and there are people um, that are paid elected officials and they have to do things or else it's going to be, well, why do we need you? Right.
Right.
So there's always going to be new stuff coming down, always. Because if they don't make new regulations and they don't do things, they don't spend their budgets, then somebody's going to say, well, do we really need you on the payroll here? Right. So we're going to be dealing with this stuff forever. Um, let's see. I think we covered it all, man. Dynamic
Up,
consent and FCC guidelines. That's the
absolutely.
biggest thing, which we got it. If someone
Well,
needs help, and I know you probably do this too, we do a lot with other um, CRMs. Like, for instance, I'll throw out Go High Level, which is marketed under a ton of different names.
yeah, go high
We're
level is
very
great.
great thing. If you do it right, they've made it really difficult lately. We used to be able to bring agents on if they wanted to have their leads come from us and then go into Go High Level to go into an email drip and text campaign. You'd still do that stuff. Just you've got to know where the lead's coming from, and
Sure.
what's been so difficult lately is something that used to take a 10-15 minutes for one of our staffers that was so good with it, and we're a month out sometimes now because they want an EIN number. They want a legit business, so we've got to, in order to give you that texting, and this, the SMS. So we've been really great in finding some great people on those different software teams saying, look, you're an insurance agent because you want to work from home. I don't have a big building and with a bunch of staff and a giant sign outside. I'm John Davis working with my social security number. And if you talk with them and they understand what you're doing, we're being successful in getting that done too. So might be able to help there if anybody's running into roadblocks with that stuff, because it's been a pain, man. Like
Love it.
that's a
And
big, they're taking big hits on that just because it's so time consuming. So our team can
absolutely.
help you.
I love it. Well, thank you for coming on. Anyone that needs to reach John, bangbangleads.com. I put
Yep.
all of his information down in my description. And
Let's go.
anyone needs anything at all, let's make 2024 and 2025 something you're proud of. I
Let's
appreciate you.
do it,
John,
man. Let's do
thank
it.
you, brother.
Take care, Jason. Happy New Year, man. Appreciate it.
You too.